What is up with y'all, man? It's your boy David. We are back with another reaction video. Today, we are reacting to The Odyssey, an epic disappointment. Oh my god, this is so crazy because I watched this movie. I watched it once. I loved it, bro. It was a good ass motherfucking movie. So let's see why it was an epic, excuse me, disappointment. With that being said, make sure you like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get straight to it.
What was your driving force behind it?
Emma was my driving force behind it, so she can speak to that.
Well.
What's been your odyssey in terms of fighting for your identity or your Hollywood career?
Well, you know, it's always been a battle. I mean, you know, Hollywood is not the most accepting place.
No Greek xeno.
When I think about equality or equity, I don't think about taking from a male figure. I think about getting what is due to me.
If you don't create great Latin roles, how are we going to get nominated?
In history, women have been vilified, whether you're a midwife, whether you're, a herbalist, whether you're a healer, whether you're just in tune with the moon. Like, women have just...
In tune with the moon? But what the fuck is she talking about, bro? Yo, I'm not gonna lie, all this goddamn hippie shit gotta stop, bro. Like, yo, what the fuck?
It's been vilified throughout history.
Especially being a Latin man, I want to be the one has the agency. So I choose the roles I want to be, and I want to be as varied and as complex as Latin people can be.
Looking at nature as if it's some sort of cis heteropatriarchal structure is absurd, and that this gender binary that we've created is nothing but a quaint little myth.
Dumb bitch.
Low key, she's actually right. Or he's actually right. My bad. He's right. I ain't gonna lie, bro. This shit is literally the concept of gender is literally man-made. I'm not gonna lie.
I'd be like, so Homer, how do you feel about the screen time given to these women, considering how little you spend with them? Okay.
Nerderotic.com.
Greetings, you over 1 million hellions and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. It is without a doubt Christopher Nolan is Hollywood's last movie star and the last director where every time he releases a film, it is a genuine event. He's the only director.
No fucking cap. The only other director I know when they release is an event is Jordan Peele. And that's kind of, when I'm saying this, I'm talking more about standalone directors. I'm not talking about directors that work for Marvel or fucking DC. Those types of shits, it's not the same, right? That's different, but I'm talking about like standalone like directors. For me, it's him and Jordan Peele. Everybody else, I really don't know anyone else, but I know that when they make shit, people listen. People turn their heads to look in that direction. That's all I know.
In Tinseltown who could put butts in seats on his name alone. The only other name that comes close is old Jimmy Cameron, and he's only made
like 3 movies.
3 movies in the last 17 years about indigenous blue furry space people that are a practice in misanthropy. While they do make a lot of money, I think they're awful. Simply put,
I don't think they're that fucking bad, honestly. They're solid movies and a solid watch, and if they drop another one, I'm probably gonna watch it too. You know what I'm saying? It's not a bad watch. They're cool movies. And yeah, shit, fuck it.
Christopher Nolan is the king of Hollywood. Yet it's been quite an odyssey to get to his latest film, The Odyssey, one that was unexpected when it was
ooh, bars. Face
announced in December of 2024. I would argue it was met with overwhelming excitement. Certainly there were some questions, even from his biggest fans, about Christopher Nolan taking this big swing and adapting something that is the foundation of all of Western civilization storytelling, a mythological tale that's essentially epic fantasy, which could be perceived as out of his wheelhouse, but those were far and few between.
I don't think it was out of his wheelhouse. I think honestly what he did with this movie was so goddamn fucking like it was a different perspective, because they glazed Odysseus for what he did with that damn horse. They glazed him. They thought he was the shit. Even though he was lost at sea for damn near 20 fucking years and shit, when he got back home, they glazed this man. But in this movie, and this is gonna be kind of a spoiler, he takes a different perspective on Zeus's law of Xenia, which is hospitality for all, and he really shifts that, because that what he did with that horse was deception. The nigga took the horse, he said it was a gift, he gave them gifts. Sinon died for that. Sinon died so that gift could be sent into Troy, and then when they popped out, they ransacked the city. Everybody knows what the Odyssey is all about, right? Nolan's perspective on that is, wow, he really disobeyed Zeus's law. Now the entire world is going to become basically hell on earth. Because nobody's gonna give a stranger hospitality ever again. They're going to literally, and as you and in the movie, he touches all these different islands. He goes to the Cyclops Island, Circe, the Lastragonians. He touches all these islands. Not 1 ounce of real hospitality was given to any of them. They were either killed on sight or they had to run. And honestly, that was literally. That happened in the epic as well, but it was more seen as, Odysseus is just so misfortunate that he basically gets stuck for 20 years. That's how it was in the books. But in this movie, it's, oh my God, he broke Zeus's law, and because he broke Zeus's law, he's going to basically be cursed to not find his home until he basically confronts what he did and understand the mistake that he made so he can go home. You know, because as Agamemnon said, don't go home expecting garlands. Go home in disguise, because you broke Zeus's law, buddy. If they know who you are, you might not make it home. You know what I'm saying? Because they are the people from the sea. Which that part right there blew my fucking mind. It was so tough.
And quite frankly, normal questions and nothing you would consider controversial.
Sorry for the little rant. You know, I'll be having things to talk about, man. I only make a couple videos a week. I'll be having things to say, bro. I have things to say. It's good. It was a good ass movie. And also nothing, the Lastragonians, they're seen as barbarians in the actual Odyssey. They were barbarians who basically didn't wear any clothes and were kind of sort of like little cavemen. But here, and they threw boulders too, but here they're wearing steel armor with steel swords. Like the shit, like, and I think the reason why that they're wearing that stuff is because, what was the reason? Oh, it was a reason for it. Like, I guess because they became more militant or some shit. I don't know. I forgot. But somebody made an explanation about why they wore that shit. It was so smart. It was so good. I forgot what it was, though.
Controversial until a month later when the casting was announced. And when it was originally announced, nobody really knew who was playing who, but in particular, Travis Scott, Zendaya, Lupita Nyong'o, and Elliot Page. Raised more than a few eyebrows, but didn't hurt the excitement for the film, considering 70mm screens sold out a year in advance. All was quiet for a while until the red flags went up when we found out who was playing who, including Zendaya playing Athena, and Lupita Nyong'o playing Helen of Troy, the face that launched 1,000 ships. But the most controversial casting of them all is Elliot Page, who was rumored to play Achilles, which ended up not.
No, he played Sinon. Well, I can't lie. When Nolan, because this movie did so fucking well, you have to drop the Iliad, right? When Nolan decides to drop the Iliad, I am ready. I was so fucking ready. I want to see who Achilles is. I want to see him fight and kill people. I want to see the route that he takes with Achilles. Is Achilles going to be an indestructible demigod? Or is he going to be just so good at fighting that they think he's a demigod? You know what I'm saying? I want to see that route. It's a real distinction between those two. Like, is he going to fight to where swords kind of bounce off his body? Or is he going to be just so goddamn good the sword can't touch him? You know what I'm saying?
Being true, Elliot Page ended up being cast as Sinon, a character who wasn't even in the Iliad or the Odyssey. As bad as that was, what made things worse was the perceived association Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey had with Emily Wilson's feminist translation of Homer's work. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention our brothers and sisters who are history enthusiasts who were pointing out the inaccuracy of the armor and, I don't know, the Viking.
I mean, yeah, the armor was inaccurate, but I'm not gonna lie, the armor looks lame as fuck. I don't think if y'all have ever seen Greek Bronze Age armor, that shit is fucking ugly, bro. I'm not gonna lie, it's fucking ugly. Like, this shit is ugly, gang. I'm sorry, it's not pretty. So I like the armor choice they made here, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to see that shit. Like, yeah. I don't watch these historical movies for historical accuracy because, first of all, this is a fucking myth. It never happened, dummy. Historical accuracy, it never happened, buddy. So, with Christopher Nolan taking the liberties that he took, first of all, Sinon's character was fucking powerful because of what Odysseus did, how he lied. Not only did Sinon, he wasn't supposed to even fight in the first place. So Odysseus lied in that first one by letting that little nigga fight. Secondly, he lied about he made Sinon lie about the horse and I got him killed. You feel what I'm saying? Like, all that shit and more, all those liberties that Nolan took with this movie were fucking brave. And not only were they brave, they were very smart, strategic, and very put together. I loved it so much. It was good.
Ship that apparently identifies as a Greek ship. And then there's the overall Hollywood hypocrisy of an industry that is absolutely obsessed with identity, yet they ignored the identity of the country of origin of Homer's poem, Greece. Hypocrisy that was best exemplified in two separate posts from Variety on X, the first one of which Moana creatives on working closely to honor Polynesian culture and traditions and why representation matters. Yet it appears that Variety completely forgot that just a month earlier, when people were genuinely asking why doesn't representation matter in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, they clap back with, these are just trolls who have a silly and wildly...
It's because they're white. Like, nobody really wants, like, when it comes to Variety and when it comes to like representation, because white people are so overly represented in Hollywood, it's sort of kind of okay to put them to the side when it comes to representation. Because first of all, most of the people in that movie and most of the important characters were white or white passing. So that's not even a big motherfucking, you know, thing for real, for real. They had like one black person or two black people in that, or three. They had 3 black people in that entire movie. And that was it. That movie was overrepresented by white people. So when people just say they want to see more representation, that means they want to see less white people on screen, which is not a bad thing. White people have dominated Hollywood for literally a century. Sometimes it's okay to see a black face or two on the screen. It's cool, nigga. I'm chilling. It didn't break the story for me. Helen of Troy being Lupita Nyong'o was fine. Lupita, because niggas talking about Lupita Chop, she's ugly. She's not ugly. Like, what the fuck? Like, at the end of the day, man, it was a good movie and a good watch for me, bro. I can't lie. I didn't hate it at all.
An accurate argument. And just like that, the Odyssey dived headfirst into the culture war. There were criticisms from many, including Elon Musk and the...
Anything Elon Musk has to say about anything, I don't give a fuck about. Bro lost $1 trillion. Fuck out of here, man. I don't care what y'all say about anything. You fucking barrel-chested bitch. Like, I don't care.
The unthinkable happened. A Christopher Nolan film was ratioed on YouTube, leading many to believe that
it got ratioed, but then everybody went to go watch it. This movie had a budget of $200 million. It's about to hit $1 billion. It's about to hit $1 billion. So these niggas are not only lying, they hating for no reason. It was a wonderful watch. Like, shit crazy. These niggas lame. They're lame as fuck. They don't like art. No cap.
Film would be a flop based on everything they've seen from Hollywood over the last 10 years. Eventually, the corporate critics and influencers were allowed to see the film, and unsurprisingly, the corporate critics and influencers overwhelmingly love it.
You're a fucking influencer too, bruh. I don't know if this man watched the film or not. I loved the film. It was great. It was such a good fucking watch, honestly, man. It works so well.
And once again, I'm going to have to differ with the corporate critics and maybe most of humanity, because I was overwhelmingly whelmed with the Odyssey. I wish I could tell you that the questionable casting, considering how little they were in the film, didn't affect my suspension of disbelief or the red flag.
I was overwhelmed with the Odyssey. The shit was like watching... I don't really like to go to the movies all the time. I go like every once in a while, like maybe once or twice a month. Not even once or twice a month, probably like once or like maybe at most 10 times a year at the max. Man, I was smitten by this movie. The action scenes, wonderful. The sound design, it could get a little too much, but I'm not gonna lie, those thunderstorms, like this, it was so fucking loud in there, and I didn't like that, but it made sense for it to be loud. Because that's the wrath of a god. I mean, of course it's gonna be loud. It's not gonna be normal shit. Like, these niggas ate the cow. They should have ate the cow. You feel me? So it's like, you know, yeah, but I love this movie. It was good, bro. Like, no cow. If I would rewatch it. It was a good ass movie.
Flags from that questionable casting weren't a sign of a story that...
And Matt Damon as Odysseus made so much sense. It was really, really good.
...will deconstruct the hero, or this film wasn't affected by modernity and influenced by Emily Wilson's translation. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is a mythological tale that has been grounded into dirt, and it turns out a lot of people's concerns were completely justified. I would call it bullet point plot. Now, maybe this is just me, but I was expecting a grand sweeping adventure that would be immersive and, hey, a little fun because Nolan is.
I also expected a grand sweeping adventure, but then again, even in the actual story itself, it was not an adventure. These niggas were trying to go home and they got fucking stuck, sidelined, and almost killed on multiple occasions. Like, you feel me? Like, this wasn't some adventure. The Cyclops was eating niggas. What kind of adventure is that? Like, yo, I hated that thing so fucking much. Like, no cap.
Is capable of that, all while being thoughtful. What I ended up seeing was a 3-hour drama that felt both rushed and too long at the.
It felt, honestly, it didn't feel too long, but it did feel slightly rushed because I feel like we jumped through a lot of parts, really, of what happened really fast. But what I saw in the underworld and what I saw from Odysseus, like making it back home after that storm, and how they kind of put the pieces together of the war, and him kind of sort of almost sort of almost putting together the pieces of how, like, oh, because basically we broke Zeus's law, the world no longer respects it, and now, like, we're going into the age of the Bronze Age collapse. Ithaca will fall. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that, and all that. And that reckoning he had to make with himself about what he did and how he has to not atone, but almost has to live in the world he's created. Shit was tough, man. And Agamemnon's death, they did that shit so well. And him licking the bowl of sheep's blood was aura. I'm not gonna lie. Nigga was like, Odysseus. I was like, man, this shit about to go crazy.
Same time, because
the actor for Agamemnon, he delivered. I liked what he did with Agamemnon, bro. It was really, really, really good, bro. It was really good. I was so immersed in what this nigga had to say. No cap, I was so immersed, and I cannot wait to see what they do in the Iliad. I can't wait to see it, bro. Nolan, you got to give it to us, brother. I'm waiting. 2029, right? I'm waiting for it, man.
And while there were some good scenes that we will get to, they are far and few between, and most.
They're not far and few in between. He's talking shit. They're not far and few in between. This movie is good scenes from start to finish.
Mostly surrounded by exposition dumps of people saying really obvious things. And as far as the immersion goes, well, this mythological tale that is set at a specific time in a specific region feels very modern. And instead of an adventure, you get a slow plotting drama that is a study in loss, regret, and PTSD, which is good because they fought a war for 10 years. All right, nigga, you go fight a war for 10 years and just be normal and have a fun adventure. What the fuck, boy? Like, he fought for 10 years. 10 whole years. Did you expect him to just be a fucking happy-go-lucky sailor? That's 10 years of fighting. Anybody who has fought in any conflict in the world for any amount of time can tell you that they're like I've never fought no conflict. But I can say if I did for any period of time, I would not be the same. I would literally be a meaner, more nihilistic person, bro. Like, this man's been killing people for 10 years straight. Like, what the fuck? Like, you thought it was gonna be funny and happy and la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-dee. Like, no, nigga, what the hell? A bit of a surprise considering the editing for this film, because Chris Nolan has taken his trademark non-linear storytelling and dialed it up to 11. The film opened.
No, I feel like the most non-linear his storytelling's ever gotten was probably with Inception and Tenet. This shit was really linear. You could see everything happen from start to finish. I mean, obviously the stuff ending kind of happens at the start and shit, but that's not really that's not like the craziest example of how non-linear his storytelling can get. He showed that in Tenet. That's the most insane that I've seen that his storytelling can get, honestly. And with Travis Scott being the bard, I like that a lot. It was so good. It was so fresh and so creative and it makes sense. The nigga's a rapper, rapping poetry. I mean, come on, bro. It's in the name, brother.
Up with Travis Scott's The Bard doing some slam poetry recounting the fall of Troy, and then we're immediately into our first flashback where Elliot Page's Sinan is waddling across a beach and then getting killed in front of the Trojan horse. And no, Elliot Page's Sinan isn't just some pity-casting insignificant cameo. Elliot serves as a bookend to the story of sorts, since it wouldn't be possible for me to recount even a basic plot synopsis in the order that Christopher Nolan told it, which would take at the very least a spreadsheet. sheet and at most 1,000 yards of yarn and pushpins. I'll try to keep this as linear as possible because I'm not kidding. We have multiple perspectives recounting stories where we get flashbacks within the recounted stories. I am aware this is how Odysseus recounts.
He makes it sound very complicated, but if you watch the movie, it's not that complicated, bro. I'm not gonna lie. It's actually not as complicated as you think, bro. We're just seeing different perspectives of the same conflict. It's okay, and they're from different times. It's okay. It's not as complex as you think it is, bro. I think this dude wanted Nolan to really dumb it down and kind of like really hold the audience's hand throughout the whole thing, which I can understand a director holding the audience's hand for a little bit, but through the whole thing, come on, gang. Let's be honest and real here. That's insane. The whole movie, nigga, we're all adults here. This is R-rated. What the fuck?
His journey in the poem. I'm also aware that this is a technique that has worked very well for Nolan in the past, but it doesn't work very well here. And apologies.
Why wouldn't it work well here? That's a real question.
For any possible spoilers for an almost 3,000-year-old story. Odysseus, played by
Matt Damon,
is stranded on an island and tripping balls on the lotus flower with the mysterious nymph Calypso, played by a 60-year-old woman with plastic surgery. And unless you read Homer's Odyssey, Calypso will...
Yeah, she has plastic surgery, and I mean, what the fuck? I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna hit on the bitch for having plastic surgery. I mean, shit. If I get, yeah, she has plastic surgery. Cool.
Will remain a mystery because they give absolutely no characterization or background on her. She's just woman on an island. While Odysseus struggles to remember his past, most of his kingdom of Ithaca believe him to be dead, and a gaggle of suitors led by Robert Pattinson's Antinous have invaded his palace and are drinking him out of house and home while trying to court his wife Penelope, played by Anne Hathaway. She has been stalling them for years and trying to protect her son Telemachus, played by Tom Holland, whose life is constantly in danger. And the only people in the kingdom that really believe Odysseus is still alive is Penelope, Telemachus, the swineherder Aeneas, played by the Colombian John Leguizamo, and Odysseus's dog Argus. Meanwhile, back on the island of
I mean, yeah, he's Colombian, but yeah, remember, ancient Greek people they're not white. Like, I don't think a Greek person would even consider themselves to be like white. So I don't know why the fuck he had to point out the dude was Colombian, but like, yeah, he's Colombian. And bro, like, Matt Damon is from fucking Massachusetts. Like, the hell? That is so far away from Greece. Like, what the fuck?
Gigia with Calypso, played by Charlize Theron. Odysseus, played by
Matt Damon,
starts to slowly recall his past after the 10-year war that led to the fall of Troy. Now, the Trojan horse and the sack of Troy loom like a shadow over the story and Odysseus. That's why Nolan made the decision to spread it throughout the film. And I was mostly okay with this until you get to the end and learn that it looms like a shadow over the film, because it's all about how it's interpreted, and we'll get to that. But after the sack, as Agamemnon makes his way home, Odysseus takes a slower route where he occasionally runs into Athena.
Which, I'm not gonna lie, after seeing what this nigga went through on that fucking boat, I was like, why the fuck didn't you just follow Agamemnon, brother? Just follow Agamemnon, man. It's fine. Fuck.
Played by Zendaya, and I have to point out, unlike Lupita Nyong'o playing Clytemnestra and Helen of Troy, Elliot Page playing Sinon, and this guy playing H-1B Greek, credit where credit is due, within the story, they do explain why Athena looks like this. And that's another thing we'll get to.
They do explain it, and it's a very, very good explanation. It's kind of like, how do I explain it? It's kind of like they killed a girl in Troy, and she looked like that, like Zendaya, and Athena takes the form of Zendaya in Odysseus's mind, which is so fucking good and so smart, and why Christopher Nolan is that nigga. Next.
Just a bit. Now, before we get to one of my favorite parts of the movie, I want to give you my favorite scene when these two guys announce themselves as Greek soldiers.
We're Greeks from Ithaca.
No,
I mean, yeah, they're not Greek because they're brown, but Matt Damon is also not fucking Greek because he's from fucking Massachusetts, bitch ass nigga. Like, oh my god. Like, he's from Massachusetts. Stop. Oh my god. And Zendaya is also not from Greece. Tom Holland is British. Like, yo, there are no Greeks in this movie. It's okay, gang. Shit. It's a myth. It's not real. Like, damn, he saw one black person and was like, I could never. Like, oh my god, bro. You know what I hated to see? that fucking white guy in the Black Panther movie. I'm not gonna lie, they did not do T'Challa as comically accurate as possible. He would have killed that white guy for even entering Wakanda. When he goddamn when he came to Wakanda all injured, they would have been like, fuck it, just kill him and put him in the lake. Like, that's what they would have did, because Wakandans do not like outsiders, especially white outsiders. They do not fuck with white people, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, shit crazy.
And here I was.
He wanted to kill Bucky. If T'Challa had his way, Bucky would be dead. He would have fucking killed Bucky straight up. And I wanted Bucky to die. I hate that Bucky's alive right now in the MCU. I hate that. I hate that so much. I really do. I can't stand it.
Was thinking there wasn't any levity in this film. But this brings us to the Odyssey portion of the Odyssey, which is the 10-year journey from Troy to Ithaca, which is about the middle third of the movie. And outside of the horrific casting, this is the biggest question I had for this movie from the get-go. How will Christopher Nolan deal with gods and monsters? Since everybody's going to bring it up, I know how Troy handled them. They didn't. It was my criticism back then and remains my criticism today. As far as the Odyssey is concerned, they did a little more. The gods are either depicted as forces of nature or what could be interpreted as PTSD delusions, but there are monsters, starting with the giant Cyclops Polymephus, which did look cool. This is exactly what I came to.
Like, it's okay for Athena, for me in my mind, to be kind of almost a delusion, but she's also not an illusion either. I think honestly the gods, because they're gods, they can pick whatever face they want to use to represent themselves, because they're gods, bro. They don't have to fucking, Zeus doesn't have to be some fucking dude with a big ass beard. Zeus can turn into a duck. I bet y'all didn't know that. Zeus can be a duck. Zeus could be a bull. Zeus could be whatever the fuck he wants to be, because he's a god. So Athena taking the face of a girl that Odysseus killed in a war makes perfect fucking sense. And she could still be a valid and real character even while she has the face of that dead ass girl. Feel me?
This movie to see. Unfortunately, despite the very impressive practical effects, it still felt a little flat.
It didn't feel flat at all. To me, when I saw that Cyclops eat those fucking dudes, I actually got so angry. I was mad. I was like, you son of a bitch. I can't wait till they blind you, nigga. Like, I was like, fuck. I hate this nigga. I hate him. and then no cap, it was so stupid of him to do. But when Odysseus shot that nigga, I was so happy. I would have shot his ass too, man. I ain't gonna lie. You ate my guys, I'm gonna shoot you, bitch. For real.
Including there being no conversation between Odysseus and the Cyclops, and no use of the name Nobody and no other.
Yeah, the Nobody thing was what it was. Yeah, he didn't do that at all. But honestly, it didn't really. I wish I would have seen it. Didn't matter though, for real. Because they made the Cyclops an actual monster. He didn't want to reason with the human beings. He didn't care. They were just like, they're like it's kind of like this. Do you talk to ants? Like they said in the movie? Do you talk to ants? Do you talk to sheep? Do you talk to fucking, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he didn't care to reason with them during his fucking house. He's gonna eat them and throw them away because they're fucking bugs. Point blank period.
Cyclops. Just in case you're not familiar with the story, the Nobody thing is kind of important. So in the poem, Odysseus gets the Cyclops drunk. He asks Odysseus what's his name. He responds with Nobody. So when Odysseus is stabbing him in the eye and Polymephus is crying out for the other Cyclops and they ask who is harming you, he responds with Nobody. Nolan said he tried to put it in, but it just wouldn't work. And again, it looked fantastic. And this is one of the few supernatural monster scenes that Nolan actually spent time on, where by the end you actually feel sorry for the Cyclops. And I did like that bit.
I didn't feel sorry for that motherfucker at all. I hated that bitch so bad. Oh my god.
But this is where I started noticing a major omission from Odysseus's character, because in the story he's kind of famous for being cheeky. Instead we get a very somber and serious Odysseus in a very somber and serious film. But now,
I mean, well, you know, they did fight a war for 10 years. I'm not saying Odysseus can't be funny and cheeky, but they were fighting for 10 whole years. Do y'all know anybody, the people who know veterans that fought in wars and conflicts, are they like, did they ever fight for 10 whole years and just become cheeky ass people? Like, I'm not saying they don't have funny moments. I think they laughed in the film a couple times, but like, they fought for 10 years and they want to go home and they got turned into fucking pigs. Like, they know, ain't nothing funny here, bro. This shit fucked up. I don't care.
Now Odysseus and his crew are cursed to wander the sea for years because they harmed the son of Poseidon. And their next stop is not the floating island of Aeolia that was left out with a lot of other stuff. No, it's the Lystragonians, the land of bloodthirsty cannibal giants. Now, we didn't necessarily see them being cannibals, and they weren't necessarily giants, but they were big and in steel-plated armor in the Bronze Age, but I don't have a problem with their look. It kind of reminds me of the lore of the remnants of a pre-Diluvian advanced civilization. I don't know if it was supposed to be funny, but it was, and it played out something like this. After that incredibly short scene, they're off to their encounter with Cersei, played by Samantha Morton, where it's been reported by some influencers and corporate critics that her performance was on the level of Heath Ledger's Joker.
No, it was not. Whoa. It was good, but Heath Ledger's Joker is fucking insane. That shit was crazy. That was some of the best acting we have ever seen from a human being on Earth. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not the same.
You serious?
While it was good, I would say pump the brake.
It was good though. It was A+, but Heath Ledger shit, it's not even on a ranking scale. That's how good it was. It's untouchable, bro. Like every other Joker after him feels flat and uninspired. Like, you feel me?
On the overpraise. Now, every stop Odysseus and what's left of his crew makes is for provisions. This time, the crew is pissed off enough to tell Odysseus to stay back as they go up and talk to Cersei. And as they walk up to her house, they see a lot of docile predators like lions and cheetahs and discarded armor. Nothing suspicious there, and this leads into...
When they walked into her fucking house after they threw their... when they threw their armor away and walked into her fucking house after seeing all the armor of all the past other soldiers that were here, bitch, I was fucking pissed off, fuming. I was mad. I was like, are you niggas stupid? You're soldiers, keep your swords with you. What the hell, you're not in your house? But hey, you know, it is what it is.
What is my favorite moment and scene in the film, at least in the beginning. Cersei feeds the crew and they just start eating savagely, and then she eventually turns them all into pigs. It's both gruesome and cool. It is a genuine horror scene, and this is one of the few times in the film where the music actually fits. But as what happens a lot in the Odyssey, the resolution is a bit rushed. Of course, they were going to have Odysseus staying there for a year and banging Cersei. Instead, we get what
I did not know he fucked Cersei. Oh my god. I did not know he fucked Cersei. Oh my god.
believe is one of the least subtle moments of leaning into the...
I know he fucked Calypso. I did not know he fucked Cersei. Oh no. Oh my god.
The spirit of the Emily Wilson translation by making Cersei some sort of trauma survivor. Cersei holds a dagger to Odysseus's...
But honestly, it makes her transforming them into pigs more believable because she hates men. It makes it more believable. Honestly.
Neck as she talks about the men's gluttony, toxicity, and thirst for war, and in isolation it would have been fine and matches what's in the poem, but you also have to consider that they radically changed the character of Cersei so they could really lean into what is a through line in the film: toxic masculinity. You know, the good old misunderstood female antagonist. Odysseus apologizes for his men's toxic masculinity and gets directions to Hades, where Odysseus once again runs into the shade of Page's Sinon. And this is where it becomes very hard to argue that this was simply just a brief and insignificant cameo and pity casting, or stunt casting as some would call it. Despite the 5+ minutes of screen time, Elliot Page's Sinon turns out to be a significant character. Elliot Page,
I mean, they're significant in a sense of showing Odysseus, of like really showing Odysseus's guilt. That's the decision. That's the two decisions he made with regarding Sinon, but it wasn't that crazy. She was their character wasn't that fucking huge. You know what I'm saying? Like, the horse was gonna get into Troy regardless. You know, that's all I'm gonna say.
Sinon confronts Odysseus about lying to him about being left behind to present the Trojan horse, not knowing that the Greek soldiers were in it. Odysseus tells Sinon he needed him to believe the lie for the deception. Elliot Page's Sinon also informs Odysseus that when he took the place of Robert Pattinson's Antinous, his family was offered money, but they welched on the deal, framing Elliot Page's Sinan as a victim of both the protagonist and antagonist. So Christopher Nolan chose to take a character who wasn't even in the Iliad or the Odyssey, deliberately change their story because Sinan did know the Greek soldiers were in the Trojan horse in a completely different poem, and then cast Sinan as Elliot Page, making Sinan one of the few good honorable men in this story, where Sinan is both a symbol of Odysseus's shame and part of his motivation to go home, to seek retribution against what is the leader of the suitors, Robert Pattinson's Antinous, if terrorizing his wife Penelope and son Telemachus wasn't enough. In other words, it's really hard to argue that this wasn't subversive casting meant to be provocative. One could argue Christopher Nolan is
Well, you gotta make niggas feel something. He makes movies. You gotta make them feel something, bro. I mean, is it provocative? I mean, sure. Yeah, just like putting black people in a movie was also provocative for some reason to you niggas, but I mean, you gotta make these niggas feel something. Am I right?
known for bringing back actors that he likes, and I would argue that both things can be true, because you'll have a hard time convincing.
Hey, what's wrong with that? He's the one making the decisions about the fucking movies. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, bro. I don't see an issue with it at all. He's the one that has to direct it. Like, why would he not want to work with niggas he likes? Like, what the fuck? Are we mad that he has favorites? Come on, we all have favorites. What the fuck?
Me that Elliot Page was cast on their acting prowess in a scene that dominated.
Yes, they were, because Sinan's acting was fucking heartbreaking, bro. That shit broke my heart. Seeing that little nigga in Hades, he drank the blood. He was like, you lied. You lied, and I don't accept your apology, you liar. I was like, oh no, this little nigga, no. Fuck, shit broke my heart, bitch. I swear to God.
Needed their time in the underworld, taking away screen time.
He's like, I did that shit because I believed, and you lied. I was like, no. It broke my heart, bro.
Time from the brilliant James Remar's Tiresias, the Blind Prophet, and we didn't get to see Odysseus interact with the shades of Achilles, Ajax.
The reason, I think somebody has said the reason why we didn't see him interact with Achilles is not because, or Ajax is not because he couldn't. It's because you have to because the Odyssey, I think Nolan's plan, this is speculation, but Nolan's plan is to probably make the Iliad, and he doesn't, and that movie is going to take a long ass time, and he doesn't want to seal in the cast of who Achilles or Ajax could be. He doesn't want to seal that into stone yet, because things can change in 4 years. You never know. You know what I'm saying? So him not seeing their shades, I wish we could get the shades of Achilles and Ajax too. Don't get it fucked up. I want to see who Achilles is, because Achilles, he's the Greeks' greatest warrior. I want to see that. I do. But however, these things cannot be set in stone yet.
His mother, all of whom I would have much rather seen than Achilles, Ajax, his mother, all of whom.
They saw Odysseus' mom in the fucking... Oh, I wish they did that. I want to see the mom, though, because her character's not that important. She's dead anyways. Doesn't matter. I wish we would have seen him talk to his mom, though. Ah, fuck.
I would have much rather seen than seeing Sinan whine about being lied to. Now, when I...
No. I mean, I would have wanted to see that too, but Sinan whining about being lied to was good acting. That shit was fucking powerful, bro. I was like, damn, man, he really believed in the conflict and everything. He put his life on the line. He died for it on a lie. All on a lie. That is powerful writing right there. No cap.
Originally heard about this scene, I suspected that Sinan might be playing a proxy for the Shade of Achilles, but in truth, Sinan is playing a proxy for Elpenor, another male character that Elliot Page was rumored to play. Odysseus does encounter the Shade of Agamemnon, who informs him that he was killed upon his return by the now twin sister of Helen of Troy, Clytemnestra, due to the fact that he did sacrifice their daughter for some favorable winds. And Agamemnon warns Odysseus to be careful upon his return home. And then, almost as if it's obligatory, Tiresias rattles off the rest of the prophecy, which is sailing past the Sirens, essentially having to sacrifice 6 men to Scylla, the 6-headed monster, rather than losing all of his men to the whirlpool of Charybdis, and that the rest of them are going to die when they slaughter the cattle of the sun god Helios. And almost as if it's obligatory, that's pretty much how the scenes play out. You don't even see or hear the Sirens, and when Odysseus insists on...
We see the Sirens a little bit. They were cool. The nigga jumped off the boat, though. I wonder what he heard, but they were cool, though. I liked it a lot.
having himself tied to the mast. It's jarring because it's out of character for the Odysseus in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, who's never shown himself to be very cunning or curious. And instead of gaining insight like in the poem, instead the song tells him of basically all his broken dreams. And the most important, and one could argue the most subversive thing, the song tells Odysseus that he doesn't...
I don't think it was out of character for Odysseus to even be curious about the sirens. I mean, I think Odysseus is a very brave person in general. He's a very brave individual in the story. So his bravery in going to get his men from Circe, his bravery in fighting in that war for 10 years in the first place, his bravery in going to Hades. So he was like, fuck it, let's be brave one more time and hear the siren song. Let's hear what they have to say. And I think it was just an issue of bravery. And his bravery too in blinding the Cyclops as well. And making a plan for them to escape. He's cunning in the movie. I think this dude is kind of underplaying how cunning Odysseus is, but he's cunning and brave in the movie too. It's just that it's just not to the same extent as I guess in the epic, because in the epic he fucking shoots the Cyclops, says nobody harmed him, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's just because this is Christopher Nolan's retelling of the story, so I guess people aren't really fucking. He's not really fucking with it all the way, because it's not very true to the source material, especially with the casting and all that stuff. It's just, yeah.
Really want to go home, which directly contradicts Odysseus's entire motivation in the original poem. The Charybdis and Scylla scene was a complete letdown, particularly with Scylla that looked awful, which I'm guessing might have had something to do with Christopher Nolan's aversion to CGI and his aversion to anything with imagination or wonder. Most, if not all of these scenes were treated with, well, I guess we have to do this, so I'll do my best and we'll get it over with as quick as we can, which is exactly how it plays out when Odysseus's crew...
I think honestly the monster scenes were too short, especially with the two monsters, Charybdis and the other the whirlpool one. I guess the whirlpool one and the one the wall, they were kind of short. I like the one with the wall more because he killed a couple niggas. I ain't gonna lie, that shit was scary. That shit was scary as fuck. I'm not gonna lie, but the whirlpool one was not that crazy for real.
Slaughters the cattle of the sun god Helios, and then they eventually die in a storm, and it all happens in about 10 minutes. And what's left out? The land of the Lotus Eaters, the floating island of Aeolia, the Phaeacians, and King Alcinous. Again, Calypso is just a lady with plastic surgery on a beach, with no mention of her being the daughter of Atlas. And on that note, there's no mention of Circe being the daughter of Helios, the sun god, and Perse, because there isn't any real gods in this story, and there's definitely no male gods. Now, they show the female deities while not really saying they're deities. We'll get to Zendaya's Athena in just a second, but as far as the male gods are concerned, there's no Hermes. Poseidon is presented as a raging ocean. Zeus is thunder and lightning, and Zendaya's Athena, who may or may not be a goddess, spends most of the film.
He took a very subversive approach to the gods. Obviously, I think Nolan, he wanted to kind of paint the Odyssey more as a failing of humanity, with the gods kind of in the back burner as well. That's kind of the path he chose, and honestly, it is what it is. It's the path that he chose. I can't sit here and say bro is wrong or right. I say it's the path that he chose, and I liked the path that he chose with this shit. I didn't need to see the gods to understand why Zeus's law was important. We saw that when they went to all these other islands, they got fucking clapped at because they goddamn broke Zeus's law. I understood it. I understood what Athena was trying to do with the dude when she basically took the face of someone he killed, of someone he watched die, and basically is trying to help him find his way home and all that stuff. I understand that too. It is what it is. Like a lot of this stuff is like, it's nitpicky as hell. It's nitpicky of a good film. And honestly, it is what it is to nitpick. But at the end of the day, we gotta recognize the brilliance. And he recognized some of the brilliance. He loved that Cyclops scene. No cap. He loved that shit.
Shaking her head or scowling at Odysseus when she isn't shaming him. This brings us to the suitors, which is a large portion of the film and the one I found the most redundant. Now, it will be an opportunity for the actors to really choose some scenery, but the only person who really pulled that off was Robert Pattinson. Aside from Elliot Page and the very brief appearance of Travis Scott, nobody was terrible. Robert Pattinson was the best, playing essentially a mustache-twirling villain with Antinous, and surprisingly enough, I think John Leguizamo did a commendable job stealing a part from a Greek actor, playing Odysseus's pal and swineherder Aeneas. Tom Holland did a great job playing Tom Holland, and I particularly like...
Tom Holland did great as Telemachus. But John Bernthal as what was his name? I forgot the nigga's name. The King of Sparta, bitch. I'm pretty sure he was King of Sparta. Bro, that nigga was just fucking. He just right. Right, I think it was the King of Sparta. He basically just played himself, and that was good too. I didn't hate any of the acting in this movie. It was good, bro. Like they acted good.
The scene when Spider-Man went to Sparta to meet the Punisher, who's married to Nakia from Black Panther. And yes, this is where we see Lupita Nyong'o playing Helen of Troy, who also plays her now twin sister, Clytemnestra. And while she is barely in the film, it is worth mentioning this is 100% stunt casting. They depict her as disfigured, insinuating that Frank Castle beat his wife. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention.
They did. I'm not gonna lie. They did insinuate that he did beat her, but then they explained it was like, oh, she fucking disfigured herself so her face would never start a war ever again, which was pretty good. That was a pretty good way to say he didn't beat his bitch. That's pretty good.
Mention that John Bernthal plays a great John Bernthal in this. And in this scene where Telemachus travels to Sparta to learn about his father Odysseus, we get more context about the sack of Troy. Again, a tale that was spread throughout the film, but once we get to the actual reason for the sack of Troy, well, that's when things go downhill for me. For one, turns out it wasn't over Helen. They made that abundantly clear when she apologizes for all the wars being fought in her name. It was because Agamemnon needed an excuse to fight the Trojans over control.
I thought it was never over Helen. I thought they'd use that as an excuse to do it. I thought that was always the point of the movie or the story. I thought wasn't that always the point of the story? Like they just yeah, he got his hoe took by that dude in the Iliad from Troy, and then because the gods had a competition and they made the dude pick and Aphrodite said, "Oh, you pick me, I'll give you the most beautiful woman on earth." And he picked Aphrodite and he got Helen, and fucking Agamemnon was like, "Oh no." You know, Agamemnon, his brother called and basically said, y'all have to help me get my wife back. And Agamemnon jumped at the opportunity because he wanted to take Troy's trade routes or some shit. And he fought that war for 10 years. I thought that was the point. Am I lost?
Control of some trade routes. And again, probably due to Christopher Nolan's aversion to CGI, the actual sack of Troy, which should have been this really epic battle, wasn't. While I won't say it wasn't shot well, it had the scale of a mid-budget stream.
Troy felt smaller than I expected it to feel. I will say that it felt smaller than what I wanted it to be. I wanted to feel like they were attacking a not a country, because that's a big space to attack, but damn near like, a big city. I wanted to feel like they were fucking marching through that whole shit. But it was shot. But for what they did with it, it was shot very, very well. It was really nice.
Show. And this has been pointed out by many, and I completely agree with them. This film didn't deserve an R rating, and I don't know why it got it. There wasn't any real savagery in the battle. We didn't see any blood or guts. Outside of the Cyclops eating a dude, the Odyssey is pretty bloodless. But by the end of the sack of Troy, you see what this movie is. Now, certainly, it has a through line of toxic masculinity, and certainly it's got some questionable casting, but all of that could have been overcome with good storytelling. The only problem is, this is a story of deconstruction. This is a story of destroying the hero of Odysseus. And that hammers you over the face with Zendaya's Athena, because again, they explain why she is playing the role. Odysseus witnesses the beheading of a priestess of the temple of Athena, and it is Zendaya. So either Athena took her form, or more than likely, she is just a PTSD delusion of Odysseus.
I think Athena took her form because gods do exist in this film, and the gods can show themselves however they want to show themselves. So I think Athena is real. But honestly, yeah. I don't know. Great. An Amber Alert. Thank you.
Sad, somber, and unremarkable Odysseus, played by
Matt Damon.
Jason Bourne makes it back in time to save his son Spider-Man from the suitors who were sent by Batman to kill him before he makes it back from Sparta. And as disguised as a beggar, Odysseus assesses the situation, and then we get that big daddy's coming home scene, and I really thought they were going to bring it home here. Odysseus, still disguised as a beggar, has a chat with Penelope and discusses the breaking of Zeus's law, which is essentially the sacred code that dictates hosts must provide food, shelter, and safety to strangers, and how the Trojan horse and the sack of Troy was the ultimate violation of it, leading to the end of their civilization, in a point where we get a particularly bad line of dialogue where Odysseus refers to the Bronze Age within the Bronze Age that comes off something like this.
What, we some kind of
Bronze Age.
And then we get to the final battle scene where Penelope sets up the challenge with Odysseus's bow. He is able to string it and fire an arrow through the axis and then commence to slaughter all the suitors. While I'm guessing it's pretty difficult to film one guy with a bow and an arrow taking on dozens of dudes and killing them, this is Christopher Nolan. I hold him to a higher standard, and this scene was just clumsy. But in the end, Jason...
This scene was not that clumsy. It was actually pretty fucking good to me, brother. I'm not gonna lie. He was slaying them niggas. He was slaying shit. I ain't gonna lie. He was slaying shit, and I was there for it. I was happy to see it. Happy to see it.
Bourne kills Batman and avenges Kitty Pryde. Then he crowns his son Spider-Man and goes into exile as he sails off to the west to the Undying Lands. And what you're left with is a 3-hour slog that, again, is a movie that feels rushed and long all at the same time. A bad adaptation that, if you leave all of that out, is still a very mid film. One, in my humble opinion,
the film is it's a very artistic film to me, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Is deeply subversive, which is surprising for Christopher Nolan. And there is little doubt that the Emily Wilson translation was highly influential on this, specifically with the omissions or changes from the source material and how they're framed. Now, I'll just name a few in no particular order off the top of my head. Helen of Troy being abused and used as an excuse for the cause of the Trojan War with no mention of Aphrodite. Circe not being portrayed as a fearsome, beautiful woman, but instead she is a survivor of trauma, and they omitted Odysseus staying with her and shagging for the better part of a year. The sirens were literally muted and not seen, and they omitted that they died because Odysseus survived listening to their song. And instead of Calypso being portrayed as the embodiment of seduction and entrapment leading to unconsensual taking the skin boat to Tuna Town, she's just a lonely 60-year-old woman with plastic surgery.
But she didn't trap, bro. She fed him the lotus. What the fuck? Did we just forget that she fed him the lotus? Hello? Shit. What the fuck?
On a beach. There was also the omission of the maidservants of the suitors who were executed by Telemachus. Athena either being a hallucination or a god that takes on the likeness of a woman killed in the sack of Troy. The only deities or goddesses being portrayed in the film were women, of course suspiciously leaving out Aphrodite, but the worst crime of them all was how Christopher Nolan treated the character of Odysseus. That being said, while Emily Wilson...
I think honestly he just wanted to see that all the gods had physical bodies, especially Aphrodite and them. I think that's what he wanted to see more, but because Christopher Nolan took the route of kind of making the gods more of a presence in like how in their laws and kind of sort of making them more like intangible, I think that's one of his biggest critiques of the film, honestly, the intangibility of the gods. He hates that. He wanted to see the gods in physical bodies, which to each his own. I think that would have been also a cool thing too, that if they wanted to take that route and make and give the gods bodies, but I don't think Nolan wanted that for this film, and he might not even do that. And if he makes the Iliad, he might not even do that either. He might not even give them physical bodies in the Iliad either, which I don't know how he would do that because they play a very central role in the Iliad. So he might give them bodies, but you never know, bro. It is what it is.
Since translation may have been an influence, ultimately every decision in this film that's good or bad lays at the feet of Christopher Nolan. In other words, it's not like Christopher Nolan gets producer notes. Nobody tells this guy what to do, and that's why his worst crime was the treatment of Odysseus. Instead of being the intelligent, cunning, resourceful, arrogant, yet deeply flawed hero of the Trojan War, he's portrayed by
Matt Damon
as a sad...
But he's deeply flawed in this movie too. What the fuck? He shot the dude in the back, and his men criticized him for it. And it's just one part. They criticized him for it and thought he was stupid for doing that dumbass shit. Like, he's deeply flawed still. His flaws are shown more with Christopher Nolan's adaptation.
Remorseful, not particularly intelligent or cunning.
So what, he's just stupid? Now he is pretty intelligent. I don't know what the fuck. He's just, okay.
Traumatized survivor of the Trojan War, and it's insinuated his actions have led to the end of the Bronze Age. And it's not like he's terrible in this, but his Odysseus just lacks aura. And so does Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. It was a very stark, dry, competently put together film with some beautiful shots and some horrible sound mixing, but only made worse by the awful soundtrack. Now, by no means is this bad as something like Supergirl to me, and despite what I think about this film, a lot of people are loving this movie, and it's become a cultural event. For me, it was grim and without feeling. Hell, When Argus died, I felt nothing. Now, as a dog owner, how can you feel nothing when a dog dies?
I mean, the dog wasn't even a part of the story for real. Like, so I don't know. But it was sad to see the dog die, though. I don't know.
ADD editing didn't allow anything to really sit. I couldn't get engaged with the characters. Now, this has worked for Nolan in the past, but it doesn't work here. Felt like I was watching a 3-hour sizzle reel, and for me, the verisimilitude was shot. But of course, the casting, the modernity, the modern vernacular, and the general look. I hated the color palette. Everything looked pretty drab. And as
I love the color palette. It made it feel realistic. The realism was good, bro. I like the realism.
Good friend Metatron pointed out, you know, in ancient Greece, the structures weren't ruins, they were actually new and colorful. And I don't know how the Greek army had a hard time getting over these walls of Troy. And the Trojan armor looked like something out of Rings of Power. And while I've said this is essentially fantasy based on mythology, that mythology has the backdrop of real events in real places like
real events. Whoa, that kind of disrupts your argument because this is a myth that never happened. I understand, yes, there is the thing of the palette is underwhelming because, you know, ancient Greece, they use a lot more color than we like to imagine. But you know, the Odyssey never fucking happened. Zeus is not real. Aphrodite does not exist. Circe is not. I'm done.
Troy. Now that I've seen it twice, I can confidently say, in my humble opinion, that Christopher Nolan was the wrong guy for this story. It is not Homer's Odyssey, it is Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. And I think we found Christopher Nolan's Achilles heel. This is a very somber, analytical, and serious film, and I believe to take on
yeah, because war and its effects are serious, bro. I think he wanted Nolan to fucking like basically make the shit fantasy, really dive deep into the fantasy, which there's nothing wrong with that, but like Nolan is very realistic with the shit. War is serious. Point blank period.
Genre like this, you need heart, imagination, and a sense of wonder. And would it kill you to have a little fun? I'm gonna be real. I would rather watch an Odyssey directed by Michael Bay, and I completely understand.
Low key, I would want to see that too. Just as I wanted to see the Odyssey directed by Christopher Nolan, I would also love to see an Odyssey directed by Michael Bay as well. You can like two things, nigga. I love Transformers, nigga. What the fuck? I love that shit. But the writing is fucking trash. But the writing in this movie was not fucking trash. See, you get strengths. The CGI with Michael Bay, the CGI and the action sequences are gonna be fire. The writing trash. With Christopher Nolan, the action sequences and the CGI are going to be slightly more toned down, but they're still going to be very good. But the writing is phenomenal. You see the separation there? You like what you like, and I like art.
Dan, I'm going to be in the minority on this one because of the power of Nolan. This is nowhere near the worst film ever made, and it's nowhere near a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. And if you enjoy it, you go right ahead. I look forward to never seeing it again. And ultimately, if I had to describe Christopher Nolan's Odyssey in one sentence, it plays out like an atheist adapting the Bible.
And that's okay. Honestly, that's okay. With that being said, make sure you like and subscribe. I love the movie, bro. It was fire. It was good. We try to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to catch you on the next one. We out.